Happy Camper Radio.
It is the Happy Camper Radio Show, episode 226. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper, and no question about it, my friends. Hang around with us long enough. We will make a happy camper out of you. Mr. Wonderful is in the studio today.
Hey,
hello there, Daniel.
how's it going?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, all pumped up, all excited, ready to rock and roll.
Yes, sir.
All right, Daniel, on the show today, we've got a call-in guest.
Uh-oh.
Somebody you know very, very well, don't you?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, I'm going to give you the opportunity to introduce him here in just a couple minutes.
All right.
And you stick around, folks. We've got a great show lined up for you. Episode 226 of the Happy Camper Radio Show is coming your way right now.
Happy Camper Radio.
And the Happy Camper Radio Show can be heard all around the world by great listeners just like yourself. You can find us in the iTunes Store, Podbean, Myra Guide, Stitcher, the BlackBerry Podcast Directory, iHeartRadio, Google Play Music, Spotify, and, of course, on Amazon Music. A lot of choices you have out there. And folks, if you want to be part of our studio audience now, just tune into our YouTube channel where you get to actually see us do the show right there behind the scenes.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, and this is our third episode we've done here recently, and we've got the studio all decked out with cameras and lighting. And
oh, yeah, first class.
You know, and every day I tell you, Daniel, we're going to do a show, and you come up here dressed up. And, you never cease to amaze me.
All right, okay? I like it.
I do, too, for that matter. And, of course, your buddy Sadie, she is here in the studio. And she's
puppy.
All nice and quiet right up. Please don't get her riled up. Okay, but anyway, we're glad to have you back, too, Daniel. And one of the things I want to talk about here, and I'm going to touch on this during our interview with, your brother-in-law, is it?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay. You know, we had my son-in-law, now it's your brother-in-law. You know, and he's a
family
camper.
affair.
He's a camper,
he
too,
is.
isn't he?
He's a hiker a little bit, too.
Right. You know, and as long as I've known him, we've never had this discussion, so I'm looking forward to having him on the program today. But, you know, one of the things I do want to touch on a little bit today is, these wildfires are getting out of control out west.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Arizona specifically
Yeah.
we're talking about. And I know there's a lot of Arizona campers right now that, number one, can't go camping because of this.
Yeah.
And number two, if they are in an environment where they can go camping, chances are campfires are going to be prohibited.
Oh, yeah,
and
definitely.
You know, you're living one of those red zone areas. And and for me personally, I can't go camping unless there is a campfire. It just will not work for me. It is the highlight of every single camping trip that I go on.
You can put it on your phone and put it in the pit and put it on your phone and look at it, or get a TV.
That is the way you do things, Daniel.
I never did that, but I was just saying.
No, well, it doesn't surprise me you haven't done that because, there is not an electronic device that you don't take. Take to the campground.
Yeah, well, you never know.
One of
you
these
might have to look up. Someone asked a question, and you'll have to look it up. Who is Yogi Bear? How many picnic baskets does Yogi Bear get? I mean, who is Boo Boo?
Well, folks,
when did that start?
I've known Daniel for many, many years, and I can't get to him. But if you want to reach out to him, Daniel at happycamperradio.com.
There you go.
And you want to educate him on the idea of relaxing.
I always relax
while you're camping,
as long as I'm doing something.
Putting all that stuff away. And with the exception, of course, if you're going to listen to Happy Camper Radio,
there you go.
You want to watch it on your smartphone, you can do that. Okay, we'll give them that. Okay. Well, Daniel, on the show today, we have got a very special guest, and it is someone you know very, very well, and somebody that I've had the pleasure of meeting, and we're going to welcome him on the program today. Michael is standing by. Let's get him on the show right now.
Radio.
Michael, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful, Skip. Thanks for having me. How you doing, Daniel? Good to hear you again.
All right. How are you doing, Michael?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing well. Excited to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Okay, Michael, Daniel enlightened me on this yesterday because, we are pretty much focused around his availability now. Since I am retired.
You are retired.
Yes, and I can do the show anytime I want, but, we've got to figure out when Daniel's not in the mail truck.
That's right.
Or when his wife, Deidre, does not have him lassoed into something.
There you go.
So, but, he says, hey, we can do the show tomorrow. And I said, great, we'll get you over here. And Daniel and I always take the time to decide ahead of time what we're going to discuss on the program. And we'll look at some of the emails that we get and, just answer some questions and, do the best we can. And we do that every time here in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
But when he told me that you wanted to be on the program and he told me that, you have a history of camping and hiking and all that stuff, I go, what? I didn't know that. So, yes, Michael, I am so delighted to have you on the show to talk about your experiences today.
Well, I'm excited to be on the show, and I'm excited to share my stories and experiences and maybe even some tips just to make the camping experience just a little funner than you anticipated it going to be.
Michael, how long have you been camping?
I kind of been, I would say, camping my whole life. Ever since I was a young, 6, 7, I would go camping with my uncles and my dad and mom. We'd go camping, the typical car camp where you pull up, you camp, you fish. And then, when I got a little older, friends of mine was like, hey, we should go, like, hiking in the camp. Like, so we do, miles of treks, stuff like that. So I would say I'm a well-rounded, all-around camper. And every time we go, we try to learn a new skill. That's where it makes it interesting and fun and not bland and boring as you may think it would be if you were like, oh, you want to go camping? Why would I want to do that? But you get to learn a new skill that could help you in the future.
Well, one of the things that, I share with folks, especially people who want to get into camping for the very first time, is to let them know that once you get your feet wet, once you get out there and start camping, you're going to learn very quickly that no two camping trips are the same, regardless of where you're camping at. You're always going to have a new experience. You're always going to bring back home memories that you did not bring from previous camping trips. And I have been camping pretty much all my life. And that's what, of course, inspired this program here. But what is one of your favorite things that you remember when you go out there camping? Do you have a favorite memory that you can share with us?
Yeah. So my favorite memory of, like, when I go camping is really being able, it's not one particular memory, it's just a particular memory of being able to go out there, get together, and just, like you were saying, just sit around the fire and just chit chat and talk about deep things and just have a family friendly conversation about life. It gets you away from the hustle and bustle, and that's really my favorite thing about camping and memory wise is just being able to go out and slow down.
Now, I'm going to pick you and Daniel's brain here for a second. We probably, the three of us, can all agree that the highlight of your camping trip is going to be when it gets dark, the lightning bugs come out, and folks are sitting around the campfire, just relaxing and having a good time. I think we can all agree that's going to be the best part of any camping trip, right?
As long as there's s'mores.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Like when I was in Boy Scouts, we did s'mores. We did, I think we did sandwiches. They had a little sandwich thing where you turn it from side to side. And then I remember one time when I was on a Boy Scout trip, they did popcorn. And, like, I can't just sit there and not do something. So I've got to roast marshmallows, make popcorn, I got to add logs to the fire. I've always got to be busy, unfortunately. What about you, Michael?
Oh, yeah, the preparing of the fire is great. That's where you gather all the logs. You got to cut them real small. But my favorite thing to eat on the fire is a hot dog.
Oh, yeah. Hot dogs, too.
I really like the hot dogs.
Do you burn them to a crisp, Michael? Do you got to burn your hot dog to a crisp?
No, I got to evenly roast it all the way around, but not get it too burnt, but I want it all the way done on the inside. So don't put it too close, but don't keep it too far away. But I'll hold it for a good 10 minutes, but it won't be burnt. It'll be nice and cooked all the way through, because if you burn it too quick, it'll still be cold on the inside, but fried on the outside. But my favorite thing also with the fire is after everybody's done eating, there's these things that's called like some sort of colorful flames and whatnot. And there's a bunch of different brands, but you can look at it online and find some, and you just throw them in the fire, and they make the campfire a little more interesting, and it changes the color of the campfire to blue, purple, green. and it'll last about 10, 15 minutes. But it's really a cool experience if someone has never seen it, and you bring them and you introduce them to it. And that's something that I like to do every time. I've discovered this about 4 or 5 years ago.
Now, I had experience with that, Michael, back when I camped with Daniel here about a year or so ago.
Uh-huh.
You know, you talk about, adding color to the campfire. I saw that when he threw his paper plates on the fire.
Well, I don't remember that.
Oh, I remember it.
Well, hey, you got to get rid of it somehow.
A lot of folks do that. But, let me ask you guys this. Now, this may hit a sore spot with some of our listeners, but I am the one type of a camper who enjoys peace and quiet around the campfire. All right. Do you think it's the right thing to do to have somebody in the family who is camping with you, or maybe a friend or whoever, bring his or her guitar and sing tunes around the fire?
I don't know. I've only dealt with that like once when I went up to Gary's and his friend brought his guitar, but like, I just try to go with the flow. I mean, I try not to let stuff annoy me because I'm pretty like, when I get to that point, I'm pretty chill and there's not a lot that will annoy me, but I don't hate it. And I really don't have an opinion on it. I just, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It doesn't really bother me too much, but I don't know.
How about you, Michael?
So I have a friend who plays the guitar and who actually sings, and he actually puts music on Spotify, and he's really good. But it doesn't bother me. Yes, I like the peace and quiet also, but I also don't mind. It depends on the music that is played, because it depends on the group I go with too. I've gone with groups where they have the music, but if it's like, if I need calming and relaxing music, like older 80s music, just low tunes, but also with the guitar is also nice too, but it'll only play for about an hour or so. And we just want to be respectful from everybody. But the person who brings the music or the guitar, they always ask out of respect, and I appreciate that. But it doesn't bother me. But when I do get ready to go to sleep, I don't want to listen to it all night.
I don't know with my age if I could handle 80s music at the campground. But, for me, guys, personally, music is fine. I'm sure there are a lot of talented people out there. There are some people who can play guitars, but can't hit a note when it comes to singing. All right. For me, I have got to enjoy the peace and serenity and the crackling of that fire, and I don't want to hear anything else but. Yeah.
You can't do the banjo by the fire?
Not a chance. No. That will be like somebody handing me a harmonica and saying, play us a few tunes. Not going to happen.
Well, how do you feel about ghost stories around the fire, Skip?
I like that.
Aha.
I like that as long as the kids around the fire don't get too scared, because they're going to be up all night and they're going to keep you awake all night. I've learned my lesson about ghost stories a long time ago, but they're cool.
Yeah,
they really are. I mean, I was laying in bed last night watching a program on Netflix that, and I don't scare very easily.
Oh, no, you don't.
No, but whoa, this is something, you don't want to take to the campground and fall asleep and have to, have one eye open in the process. No. No,
I usually don't participate in the ghost stories. I just let them, if you're going to tell it, go ahead and tell it. But I don't really entertain the scariness, because I don't really like scary things.
Well, I know, like, when I was in 4-H, and that's a thing that we do down in Georgia. I went to Rock Eagle, and what I was thinking when I said ghost stories, they're kind of like cheesy ghost stories that have like a punny ending. Yeah, they'll have a punny ending and it'll be silly or something. But yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking about. Like, not really like, axe murder kind of stuff, but like just silly stuff.
Well, guys, I can't help but to touch on this right now, because it happens every year about this time. In certain parts of the country, those folks out there are dealing with wildfires.
Mm-hmm.
And camping, to me, you've got to have a campfire, but In some instances, depending upon where you live and depending upon what the weather conditions are in your area, you may not be able to have a campfire, or you may not be even able to camp for that matter. All right. But, I think it's very important, especially in dry situations. Now, here in Georgia, for example, we haven't had a drought for maybe about 10 years.
Been a while.
It's been a while, but I can remember at a time around, October, November, when, the burn ban was typically lifted.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't lift that burn ban, and you couldn't put a fire outside for any reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
But even though most of us can enjoy a campfire, whether it's you're at a private campground or public campground or even camping out in the wilderness, it's going to be very important that you exercise good campfire safety measures. And I believe in using fire starters. I know there are folks out there that will pour gasoline on the fire, which I highly discourage anybody from doing. And if you don't have gasoline, I know some folks that use kerosene or white gas. Don't do that either. If you're going to have a campfire, take the necessary precautions ahead of time. Buy some of those fire starters. You can break them in half. You don't have to use a full stick. I mean, I use them not only out, when I'm out in the woods camping, but I also use them here in the wintertime when I'm lighting the fire in the fireplace. It's very safe for you to do that. I always encourage people to get some kindling wood.
Mm-hmm.
Start your fire small, then grow it up to a decent, reasonable, peaceful size. I'm trying to describe the right type of fire here, Daniel. But there are some folks that they've got to get the thrill out of seeing that big flame right away.
Yeah.
And they go ahead and they do something stupid by throwing gasoline on a fire, and you don't do that, folks. Do not do that. All right, especially if you've got kids around, especially if the conditions are dry. You could get a fire that would spread and get out of control. And I often ask myself, too, when you're out there enjoying a campfire, what are your resources available around you in the event that you do have to put that fire out?
Yeah.
Not just, before you go to bed, but what happens if things get out of control? Do you already have some water handy? Do you have a hose nearby that's connected to the water source at your campground? So I think that's very important. And, if you're watching the news, if you're looking online at some of these situations that are occurring out of state right now, it's a good lesson. It's a good thing to keep in the back of your head if you are planning an upcoming camping trip. So, definitely spend a couple bucks. You can get them at your local Walmart store, your camping supply store, wherever you do your camp shopping at, and get a pack of those fire starters and put them in your bag and make sure you have them there when you go camping.
Absolutely.
And if you go to a campsite, they'll probably have them at the camp area.
Yeah, a lot of these.
Like
a lot of these campgrounds do have convenience stores, and they will sell them there too. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But I have actually seen fellow campers that are parked nearby where I'm camping at, try lighting a fire, and they go through the extremes to do that. And that's something you shouldn't have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, folks, all I'm saying is, when you're out there, when you're camping, be careful, be safe, and you want to come home safe with nothing but memories. Yeah, you don't want to have no hospital trips. You don't want to have no accidents. You don't want to even have to break open your first aid kit, which I'm sure everybody has somewhere nearby.
Yeah,
but you have those emergency supplies just in case you need them. Well, Michael, one of the other things that I want to talk to you about, the last time I remember us getting together, we had a cookout in my backyard. You remember that? Oh, yeah. Okay. And I asked for volunteers to cook steaks on the grill, and you stepped up to the plate. And, Michael, I don't think I would ever ask anybody else besides you to prepare a steak when we're cooking out on the grill. I'd like to know what is your secret? Because all I do is burn food.
Well, what I do whenever I cook anything, especially on a grill or on a fire pit, the key is not to put it too close to the flame, because once you, just like I was saying about the hot dog, once you burn it, it's burnt. You can't go back, but you can always heat it up, So what I do is I put all the coals on one side, and then so it's indirect heat, if that makes sense. So that you put your steak on the opposite side of the flames, and then you continually rotate the steak, and then you flip it over. It takes a while, but it's very good, and so if you have a fire pit and you're putting it on there, just make sure you can use a stick to kind of prop it up so that it holds it above the flame higher than what it should be.
Now, I don't remember what I spent on those steaks, but they were expensive. And I mean, there was everybody walked away full that day. But I did not keep an eye on you. I just put my trust in you that you were going to go ahead and prepare some good food. Do you use a temperature gauge when you're preparing food?
I don't use a temperature gauge, but whenever I cook anything, I cook it for the way longer than what it should, because I know that if that's the case, then we're good to go. But and I usually cut it open, and as long as you don't see nothing, it's good.
Okay, well, now you understand when I cook hot dogs over an open flame, they get burnt. All right, I wasn't lying about that.
I like it a little rare, though. I like a little pink in the middle, so, that's always good. I feel like it tastes juicier.
You think so?
I'm not much of a well-done person.
Well, if I don't have the jar of relish, or if I don't have the right type of mustard,
onions. You gotta have onions,
Oh,
Skip.
Daniel, no. We're not even gonna go there.
Love me some onions.
My heaven.
The hot dog, you gotta have mustard and you gotta have onions.
There you go. See, you're outnumbered, Skip.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll if we ever go camping
And
together.
if I had to make it serious,
When you break out the onions, I will go home. No, I have never loved onions. I can't stand them. No, that's just me. Yeah. But anyway, Michael, hey, listen, I want to take the opportunity to thank you for being on the show today. We haven't talked to you in a while, but like I said yesterday when Daniel was talking about having you on the show, and I was asking him, I says, has Michael done any camping before? Oh, yeah. I said, whoa, yeah, we've got to talk to Michael. We got to get him here on the show.
There you go.
And folks, for our listeners out there and our viewers, if you want to call into the show here and be on the program with Daniel and I, get in touch with me anytime. Skip, SKIP, at happycamperradio.com. We'll make that arrangement, and we'll get you on the program just like we did Michael today. So, Michael, I want to thank you, and also say hi to your better half there. I know she's in the background, and I haven't seen her in a while. But I'm sure sometime our paths will cross again, and maybe we'll get together for a camping trip sometime.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Skip, for having me on. Thank y'all for inviting me on. Thank you, Daniel. And y'all enjoy the rest of y'all's day.
All right, Michael. Thank you, and have a great day. All right, see you now. What a wonderful guy.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
really enjoyed talking with
He's
him.
my favorite brother-in-law.
Yeah, that's your only brother-in-law, isn't it? Yeah.
You shouldn't have said that.
No.
Now everyone knows.
Yeah, you're right about that. Well, Daniel, it's always a pleasure to have you here in the studio.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know what you're going to be dressed up like next time. Oh heavens! When Halloween comes around, oh my Lord, I really hate to see.
Oh, I've got something in mind.
You scare the dog as it is when you come in the door.
Well, I traumatize her.
Okay, folks, it's time now for our featured campground of the week right here on the Happy Camper Radio Show.
Happy Camper Radio.
Daniel, I want to venture a little up north.
All right.
Not too far north. We're going to go to the state of Kentucky.
I've been there.
Okay, I have too. I passed through. I never made any stops or anything, but if I do, I'm going to make sure I have my camping equipment with me because I want to make my first stop the Fishing Creek Campground. As part of recreation.gov, the Fishing Creek Campground is located just west of Somerset, Kentucky. It's part of the beautiful Lake Cumberland, where visitors enjoy boating, fishing, and a whole lot more. They've got a wonderful list of pictures right there on their website, and I'm looking at some of them right now, and it just really wants me to go out there to the shed and just pack everything up and head out the door right now.
There you go.
A lot of information and things are right there available on the website. The campground offers 26 RV sites, 20 tent-only sites, all with water, electrical hookups, picnic table, fire pit/grill, and a lantern post. Amenities include flush toilets, showers, drinking water, a washer and dryer for a person just like yourself
There you
who
go.
goes out in the woods hiking all day and he needs to do his wash at the end of the day. Yeah, that's a good campground for you. They have a boat ramp and a dump station. The campground is situated on the shores of Fishing Creek and Lake Cumberland. Dense stands of mature hardwood forest are the site for offering scenic views, pleasant shade, and wildlife habitat. That's the environment that I want to be in, especially at my age. Look at all the information right there available on their website, and we're going to have a link to it all week long on happycamperradio.com. You just click on that featured campground button, and it'll come right up there. And again, folks, if you don't already have a link to recreation.gov, if you don't have an account, here's your opportunity to sign up. When you visit their website, look for the blue label up at the top of the screen. It says sign up. You click on that. Doesn't cost you anything to do that. Create yourself an account, and if you make it a campground reservation at any recreation.gov campground, your reservation process is going to go a whole lot smoother if you have a recreation.gov account. I've used them a number of times, and I'm thinking about going back to one of my favorite recreation.gov campsites, Daniel. Yeah, right down there on the Georgia-Alabama border. I've talked about it before. R. Schaefer Herd. Site number 88 right there on the lake. Partially shaded. Yeah, you can back right in. I don't have to haul my gear in like I do when I go camping with you. All right.
One time.
Yeah, one time. It'll never happen again. But yeah, check out some of the pictures right there on your website. It'll really inspire you to actually go out there camping. And I noticed, Daniel, you have not looked out the back door when you came in. I already got my tent set up.
I heard. You told me. I haven't looked. I have to check it out after the show.
This is my inspiration.
There you go.
Actually plan my next camping trip.
All right. I like it.
You open up the back door, you see my Coleman chair sitting out there on the patio, and just off in the not too far distance is the complete setup. My tent is already decked out. It's staked out, and I just sit out there. I sat out there last night and just stared at it.
Nice.
And the adrenaline started flowing.
All right.
Now, I've got a couple holes in the floor that I've got to patch up, and and clean it up a little bit there. But I want to put it up there to air out. But that's my inspiration to go camping, and doing this show is an inspiration to go camping. And every time we do a featured campground, Daniel, like we are doing right now, it's an inspiration for you to pack your gear, make your plans for your next camping trip. And definitely. I know you want to go out on a trip real soon yourself.
I wish I was retired.
Yeah, you're getting there.
Yeah, one day at a time.
You will, and when that happens, Daniel, I will get you a dozen balloons, and I will give you a shirt just I have.
I can't wait.
But anyway, folks, if you're looking for a great campground, if you're looking to go through the state of Kentucky and you want to go to the ideal camping destination for you and your family, here's one for you right now. It is our featured campground of the week. It is the Fishing Creek Campground. Make note of it, and I want to see you at a campground real soon, okay?
Happy Camper Radio.
And, of course, folks, if you have a campground you'd like for us to feature on the program, get in touch with me, Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com, or
Daniel at happycamperradio.com.
Yeah, email any one of us, and we'll get that campground. Make sure you include a link to the campground website. Well, Daniel, I was glad to have your brother-in-law here on the show today. I'm glad to have you on the program, as always. And next time, you never know, it could be you that could be sitting here and talking to Daniel and I right now. That's going to wrap up today's edition of the Happy Camper Radio Show. Always a pleasure, again, to have you on board. Remember, friends, every pet, including my lovely dog, Sadie, who can't stand Daniel. She was adopted from the shelter. Do like I did. Visit your local shelter and adopt a pet today. You can find us on the web 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at www.happycamperradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and join us here in the studio by subscribing to our YouTube channel. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. Daniel's a happy camper.
Yeah!
I know Michael off in the distance is a happy camper. Woo. And you better believe it, folks. We're going to do our best to make a happy camper out of you. Talk to you again real soon. Thanks for joining us. This is Happy Camper Radio.
Happy